them for the
It's 4:30 p.m. March 13. I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome our guest. And roll call, please.
Okay. Zagami,
Here.
Ermeling,
Here.
Hubbard,
Here.
Lopez Ferrero is excused. Mumford,
Here.
there's nobody on Zoom. So.
Public comment? Any comment?
I'll pass, thank you.
Approval of 2/13/23 Public Works Utility Committee meeting minutes. Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. The staff report number 6, CIP update. Michael?
I guess not a lot to add at this time. I guess the one thing is the Weston Ave project X to J, the first insertment in the paper for advertising was today. So that project will be have a bid opening in early April. And then there's also going to be a public information meeting for the joint project with Rothschild on Weston Ave between Alderson and Birch on March 29th. At 6 o'clock at the Village of Rothschild, Village Hall. So I'll get that on the calendar for all you guys too. You don't have to attend, but if you want to, the meeting will be there.
Is that just information?
It's just an informational meeting letting
There's no assessment on that?
there's no assessment on that project. Well, I guess that depends. I think all the properties already have water and sewer access, maybe not sewer for the Zinzer property. They have water though off of Alderson. So,
You can check
but
it.
that'd be a future meeting. That wouldn't be that one.
Okay.
That's coming up. I think the topic of discussion more likely will be the intersection at Weston and Alderson. It's currently designed as a roundabout. And I think some of Rothschild board members maybe are reconsidering that thought and might not advocate for a roundabout to stay there, so we'll see. A little mini one does fit and should improve the traffic flow from all the start and stop that traffic from school and other events in that area get.
Any thoughts as to what the opposition is? Is it cost?
I've tried to ask, and I think the biggest thing is just maybe impact to the driveways of some of those residential lots close by, but when we met, whatever it was, 2 weeks ago with the MSA on it, we kind of looked at a couple different design options that I think actually will make it easier for people to get in and out of their driveways than it currently is right now. But I can only imagine, with school or, something at Mount Olive or something like that letting out, some of those people probably are just stuck, they can't move out of their driveway, at least here. Yes, you might have to go around the roundabout to go, left, but I think it works well, it fits well, it looks, to me to be the right solution, but
Okay.
yeah. I think everything else in here we'll be talking about on the agenda, so I'll try not to belabor any extra points.
Okay. Item 7, any question for Michael? Street operation update?
Pretty much as written up there, winter maintenance, winter just doesn't want to stop, so.
Yeah.
Besides that, we've got some issues, Weston Avenue between Ryan Street and J. The pavement is just disintegrating, it's bad. We've got a few other areas, but nothing quite that bad. Some pictures there, I've got Jelnik in places where it's stripping like that too. It's due to the moisture this year. It's really been terrible. moisture gets trapped under the road and underneath it. It just seems like it's letting loose now. So we're gonna do our best to keep up. We're probably gonna post rough road signs on Weston Avenue, just because we patched on Friday, we had it decent, the snow just takes it out. There's nothing that we can do other than keep putting cold patch in. American Asphalt's talking about firing the plant mid-April, hopefully, if this weather straightens out down in Mosinee, we'll see. If that would happen, then at least we could get some hot mix in there that would hold better up to the moisture. So other than plowing snow and patching roads, that's been the biggest part of what we've been doing. And until something changes, that's what we're gonna be doing.
You know, you're putting a cold mix or hot mix. I mean, it's not us, everybody doing it. They don't pack it anymore, they just let the
No,
car
we-
drive on it?
No. Well, they actually took a roller out. We've got a new cat roller we bought last year, 42 inch, 39, whatever it is. And they were rolling some of the places. We didn't end up out on Weston Avenue with it the last day we patched because we just flat ran out of time. We're trying to compact it, Shane, because,
That helped a lot.
oh yeah, and clean the holes out too.
Right.
So on something like that, take a broom on a loader and sweep it first, as long as it's thawed and there's no ice in it. Put the patch down and roll it and try and get it to hold. We just picked up another load of patch material, 19 ton from American Asphalt. And it's got a little more polymer in the oil. It's still a water-based oil that's in this patch. So it's not like an AC oil where it'll harden, you know. So you're dealing with that. It has bonding fibers in it. It's not cheap, $116 a ton. So, you know, we try to be frugal with it, but we got to do something. So this is going to be a struggle. I was on Ross Avenue today from the roundabout going east, and that's starting to let loose in the shaded areas too. So you'll see that a lot of it is in the shaded areas, you know, where the tree line on the south side is not letting the sun. And I actually emailed the Federal Highway Administration in Wisconsin just to see if they had anything on this stripping issue. They're technical engineers, and they got back, and what they're saying is that it's the moisture even below the asphalt coming up through, and Lord knows how much rain and heavy wet snow we had this winter in the warm temperatures. That's what's causing this stripping problem, and it just causes the asphalt to disintegrate underneath that surface. So we're gonna do the best we can to hold it together, put rough road signs up. Try to deal with the phone calls that are gonna come, and hopefully, you know, we can keep up with it. They're talking rain, you know, this week, Thursday, which is just gonna amplify the problem for us too, plus then dealing with, you know, trying to make sure the storm, all the inlets are open and stuff like that. So we'll have our hands full for the next foreseeable future. We're just hoping the sun comes out and it dries up a little bit and we can kind of get a handle on some of this.
Has the county been contacted regarding that section of Camp Phillips there? But, I mean, obviously that, you can't do much now, but is there anything in the works for that or?
Yeah, they were talking, they were gonna mill and pave. Didn't you got an email, I thought, from Kevin. Last year when they patched those joints over by Barbican, I was under the assumption, and I'm not throwing them under the bus, but I was under the assumption they were gonna hook those things out and put some new asphalt in there, and they didn't. They just patched over the top of them. That's why it's going bad again. That was done when I worked there. That's like 2016, I think, when that thing was, they milled the joints and packed them with asphalt. But, so I believe because they're gonna mill it and overlay it, that's why they're just gonna probably do what they can for right now.
Yeah, so they'll go from where they left off with the asphalt section and go up through the lighted intersection at Barbican.
Yeah.
We're having apparently I don't know. Husheng, I know, has talked to Kevin Lang over at the highway department too, I do believe, and we're trying to convince them that they need to go all the way to the bridge deck. They're stating the DOT owns that and.
No. He said DOT told him specifically, the bridge approach belonged to the county all the way to the deck.
Okay.
That's what Kevin said. So
Ramp to ramp was always the deal with the state. They own ramp to
what
ramp.
he did, he hired, what's his name, the concrete guy here, Norcon. He mud jacked the beginning of a turnaround. He did it already.
Okay.
And the rest of it, he said he's gonna do it, but he's not gonna reconstruct it.
No.
He's gonna use a finer material and fill up those crack area. And he's gonna wait until 27 to reconstruct it when DOT do the Highway 29.
Okay.
That was his thought.
Sure, yeah, every time I talk to him, it changes slightly, so.
Well, then he said, man, Schofield Avenue, I don't know, is worse than Camp Phillips. I said, well, yeah, we know that, and we're working on it. But he went on and on and on. But yeah, he complained about Schofield
Well,
Avenue.
Schofield Ave in Schofield is, got some big spots too.
Grand Avenue is like a pit.
Yeah.
Who, Shane, he said that they mud jacked the bridge approaches on 29?
No, the
No.
turn lane.
When
Oh.
the beginning of 10 lane going west, there is a dip in there. There was a dip in there. He was gonna mud jack it. I didn't think they could do it, but they did it. Because I just looked at it yesterday, it's up. That hole is not there anymore.
But what you're saying is the DOT's planning on reconstructing that in 27, so they're not really gonna do much from ramp to ramp then, right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct. That's correct.
I've gotten a lot of people commenting about when are we gonna do something on Weston Avenue, and I said, well, we are gonna start working on it, but then when I tell them from where to where, they go, but that section down by,
Yeah.
Long
if you go
Kennel
through
to,
this section right
Phillips.
now, it's just as bad, if not worse.
okay, well, now I can say, well, have you looked at that end of Camp Hill? And so I can, trying to convince them, well, it's other things, but boy, that section is bad.
He's gonna do the Camp Phillips Road up to Barbican, and from Barbican, he's gonna do crack fill, and the concrete, he's gonna fill up those area with a finer material,
Sure.
all the way to bridge deck. And he was talking only on the south lane.
Okay,
The north lane is looking much better than south one. Yeah.
yeah,
But that's what he said.
sure.
Okay, anything else?
Well, it's enough for right now. We're praying to quit snowing, that's all.
Well, me too, I have no more places to go with the snow.
Take her out down on Trotzer once. It's unbelievable, the snowbanks down there on Trotzer, because it's in the shaded area. I was down there today. We received the complaint from the homeowner there. And honest to God, at the end of his driveway, the snowbanks are almost 6 feet high. It's crazy because the sun never hits it. So we're gonna take a grader down there and probably a snow blower and see if we can pull it out and blow it across to the south side of the road, just so,
On the other side.
yeah, well, there's not much for houses there to do something with it, so. It's a battle.
Couple more weeks.
That's what they
We
say.
thought we were out of this like 2 weeks ago.
That way, no.
Yeah,
Are you finished?
That's all I have. Appreciate it.
Utility operation update?
Not quite as dire on the utility side right now. And went through some of our miscellaneous well maintenance items, had a clay valve issue over at the Kerry well that took the guys a good week to get a handle on. Completed some of our large meter testing and changeouts. There is a leak at a home along Schofield Ave that I'm trying to get confirmation when they're gonna get after it. Apparently they're waiting for some grant funding to come in to help replace them, so I'm trying to get a hold of the homeowner here, hopefully tomorrow, to see where they're at with that, just so we don't have to shut them off. On the sewer side, we did have a number of lift station maintenance items, had to pull a couple pumps, had to repair a radiator at one of the standby generators. Some float replacements at our Tanya Church lift station. We have been having quite well, I guess I'll take a turn to negative. We've had some issues with our SCADA and some of our alarming for quite a long time, so we're trying to dig into a few things. We did change some of our dialers to call me, just to make sure they do call out. For some reason, they don't come into this building, to then go out to our calling center. So we're working on some things to get our alarms to make sure that we get notified. We did do a little televising, and we found that our camera truck was not working properly, so that was maintenance as well. Got out and cleaned our sewer or our sanitary bad spots. I think last time I mentioned we were waiting on some pH probes. We did receive those, got those installed at a few locations, to kind of start tracking some of our pH trends. Some surprising findings, I suppose, that we're trying to digest and see what this actually means. Trying to find the best way to make sure the data we're getting is accurate. They seem to get gunked up pretty quick. So we're not sure if all the pH data we're getting is as accurate as we hope. So working through some issues with that. SCADA, I guess we're kind of close to getting our RFP out so we can start getting some people in here to get some bids done and get our SCADA system upgraded. Locates are down quite a bit over the winter, same as work orders, not too much happening. On a positive side, our well 4 that was down, we got that rehabbed, that was up and running on Friday, pumping back through our temporary treatment system. So well 4 is working, so now we wait to sample and hopefully we have the results like we did prior to well 4 going down with the shaft issue. And we have our Carry Well flushing and maintenance program. I had mentioned that previously that we're working with Carry and a contract to kind of help clear up the manganese issues that are causing Carry some frustration. So we have a meeting with Carry and water quality investigations this week to kind of go over our ongoing maintenance plan that we need for well 2. We also have a meeting with water quality investigations for Tommy Wash. They're having some corrosion issues. That's happening this week as well. Still waiting on return of some Cedar Creek Interceptor stuff. Well 7 and 8 project is ongoing. We should be getting the PFAS and other water sample results this week. So fingers crossed, everything looks good. I mentioned last time the meter pit project didn't receive any bids. We're kind of looking at some other options, working with Clark Dietz to see the best way to maybe get some of the parts for the project and do some of the work ourselves potentially. All the other projects are kind of ongoing or on hold. I guess there's nothing else for project work we have. The rest of the report just have our customers, our water pumped, wastewater flows, and some of the lift station hours that we had over the last couple months here.
Okay,
Then I guess one other note, I do have it underneath, I think it was on there, right?
Yep.
We were thinking we might have something to include in the meeting today about Shorey Ave sewer extension. I know we brought it up, it might have been a year ago, but Chad Gums ended up purchasing the property along Shorey Ave there, kind of just west of that metal pole building that's along Shorey. So he is working with Mark Thompson to get a design together. So he's looking to extend the sewer. Basically, that's at Cedar Park Street. He's going to extend that to the east to the property line of the neighboring property to the east where that pole building would sit. So hopefully, maybe next meeting we might have something to, I guess, bring to the meeting for recommendation.
okay. Question for Josh? All right, anything else?
Nope.
Item 9, policy discussion and recommendation. Water sewer utility truck purchase.
Yeah, so, historically, we'd been on I think it's about a 5-6 year rotation with our utility vans. And actually, 2 years ago, we had approved purchasing a replacement vehicle for this van. The renewal was placed, and that type of van was never built by GM. It sat in queue. My understanding is it's still in queue. They're just not sure if they're ever going to make that model again. So instead of waiting for, I guess maybe ever, we went and sought some new quotes this year. And instead of looking at the van, since we weren't confident that that style would be coming back, staff did look at getting truck styles with utility service bodies. So we got 2 quotes back, one from Menke GMC, the other one was from Gunderson Chevrolet, who works with Monroe Truck out of Marshfield, making the utility bodies. And the low cost was the GMC from Menke, or former Fred Miller, at $52,586. We did, the utility has about a $55,000 budget for these vehicles, so it does fall under that. I guess we'd recommend just moving forward with that purchase.
We have existing truck,
They're all vans right now.
you're not changing anything or trading,
So we would trade in a van, yeah.
but trade is part of this cost?
No, the trade would be separate. So our net cost would be that we auction off our vehicles.
Oh.
That seems to generally give us a better price than just trading it in.
Okay, what's your wishes?
Make a motion to recommend the village board purchase the GMC utility truck from Menke for $52,586.
In a second,
Oh, go ahead. I'll second.
discussion?
Next time.
Yes. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Item 10. Well, number 3 and 4, long-term PFAS treatment design.
So as Josh mentioned, well 4 is back up and running with the temporary treatment. When we were going through that analysis on the temporary treatment, part of the contract was to look at, I guess, the best long-term treatment systems. So that initial bench testing was done, and the recommendation was moving forward with a granular activated carbon system. So I guess this is the proposal from AECOM to design that GAC system, as well as an iron and manganese removal for well 3 prior to that GAC treatment. Well 4 essentially has no iron and manganese, but well 3 is one of our dirtiest wells as far as its iron and manganese content. Both are over the secondary standard, so we need that removal before that water would be treated for PFAS. Otherwise, the iron and manganese will kind of gunk up the PFAS system, and it won't last as long. And there's also some electrical upgrades included with this at both the well 3, or the Mesker well house, and the treatment plant. And then we'll also be looking at applying for some safe drinking water loans. And within the last year, there's been a emerging contaminant, I guess, kind of grant or principal forgiveness portion of that loan, which we'll be looking to hopefully obtain some grant monies for that way as well. So that'd be for the long-term construction of it. And so AECOM's proposal is a not to exceed amount of $380,000.
So how old is well number 4?
Built in what, the 80s? I can get the exact year in just a second. Unless Josh gets into it. So well 4 was constructed in 1980.
And those days didn't have iron and it still doesn't.
and it still doesn't. Whereas well 3 was built in 73 and it's got, yeah, I mean, the water, let's see, so the pumping level is about 48 feet at well 3 and 50 feet at well 4. So, I mean, they're what, a quarter mile apart from each other? Half mile? And it is pretty interesting, the drastic change in the water between the two sites, so.
Yeah, I'm just concerned maybe in the future eventually gonna hit it because that quarter mile is not that far. So the system can be upgraded to take care of well number 4 if there's need for it.
I'm sure it could be, yeah. I
I
mean,
think that should be discussed with the AECom.
sure.
And the other thing was I didn't see a insurance with his contract. And also he should use our contract, not his contract.
Yeah, so I guess I didn't include all that in there. Was it last year, 2 years ago? I think it was when we did the Weston Avenue contract with the AECom, Attorney Edie went over that. So there's all kinds of edits and, I guess, language that both Attorney Edie and the AECom council have agreed on. So we have the same contract for any contract now moving forward with AECom.
So, and he's gonna give a certificate of insurance.
Yeah, if it has their insurance requirements and.
Saying in there the village is part of it also.
Correct, yep. Yeah, we're covered under their liability.
Yep. Okay. Anything else? Any question? I'm not sure that $380,000 is, although because he was talking about a change order possibly.
No, I mean, I think they include just the change order. They always have that general language if something were to change or go outside the scope, it would constitute a change order.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no anticipated change order. Yeah, it's just the standard language that if at any time we agree to make changes to it, that we would then enter into a change order.
So is it T&M?
It's a T&M not to exceed, correct?
Yeah, I'd like to see the system be designed if we have to add well number 4, be able to
Correct.
add
Okay.
to it. Any question? That's a large contract. The engineering fees, 10% project is 2.8 million.
Yeah, it's actually a little lot, or the anticipated project's a little over 4 million.
4 million. Okay. So he's about 8%.
I think that's what it came to, yeah.
Any question? Accept the motion for approval. Art, did you move?
Yes.
Okay, move by Bart.
I'll
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? I'd like to see a schedule also with the contract.
Yeah,
Please.
they have that in there here somewhere.
The schedule, we want a schedule for design and the schedule for construction also.
Okay,
Although it's early for construction, but
yeah,
definitely for design.
yeah, for design, they have the essential submittal to DNR by June 15th this year. So it meets the safe drinking water deadline.
Okay. May have some other question come to me later.
Sure.
And they're gonna update us continuously to the progress and.
Yep.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Item 11, Resolution 2023-009, preliminary resolution for Weston Avenue, Ryan to County Trunk J, special assessment. Michael,
Yeah, so it's just the kind of preliminary resolution that states we will be assessing special assessments for the Ryan to J project. That's primarily a water sewer assessments, which would be done the same way as we had been handling the Apache and Birch Street projects. And consistent with what we've been, I guess, telling the residents during the public information meetings too.
do you know how much it is approximately?
I haven't done the to the teeth estimate yet, but my guess is if we do it the same way, it'll still end up being somewhere around 20,000 per connection. Would be my guess. Costs haven't changed that drastically since last year.
So the only thing we approving is resolution for.
Correct. Yeah. So it just essentially the resolution tells me to put a report together and hold a hearing then for the assessment. So.
Okay. Accept the motion for that.
I'll make a motion to recommend the village board approve resolution 2023-009.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it, thank you. Item 12, Schofield Avenue intersection study result, Masker and Roy.
So yes, in December, I think we talked about the kind of the phase 1 results of the intersection studies. And we then directed, I guess, MSA to complete them as well as, so looking at an improved two-way stop control, a roundabout option, and then at Mesker also looking at a traffic signal option. So I guess they did that. The findings are still similar to what it was previously, where the traffic volume, say, a two-way stop control is still adequate. However, if we want to do something different that's above and beyond, that's fine. We can do that. I know there is a strong interest to look at pursue a traffic signal installation at Mesker Street, which does, if you kind of just look at the summary, it does improve the level of service at that intersection.
It's just a matter of the cost, I believe.
Yeah, so the estimate on the cost there was what?
690,000.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
on page 37 or 38.
okay, yeah, there we go. I went the wrong way. Yeah, so a roundabout was about twice that at about almost 1.3 million, so.
The traffic count, did they correct it? I know you said they did. For Orion and Mesker, they had the same traffic count. They correct that?
Believe so, yeah. They should have. It didn't look like it was the same when I went through it the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the big thing that you look at is kind of the level of service. So, the two-way stop control has, a level of service C, kind of in that morning peak, and then a D in the afternoon. If we look at projecting out to 2042, it becomes a D and an F. So that's for Mesker Street itself. Since Schofield Ave is free flowing, it's always an A. There's no delay there. A roundabout would give Mesker an A as well. So essentially there'd be minimal delays there, both now and in the future. So that the traffic signal in current conditions, it would go from that, what was it, a C or a D to a B, currently, and then it would stay as a B moving forward. And, Schofield Ave stays as essentially as an A, as well. So I guess from a traffic standpoint, it does look like there would be some advantage to installing that, as well as probably a safety aspect for the, people trying to turn on to Schofield Ave from Mesker.
It is difficult. I mean, I use that intersection all the time. It's challenging, not for the people coming out of Mesker. If you want to take a right turn, it's easy. But if you want to take a left turn, you got a problem. But the guy from Mesker is sitting lower than intersection practically. It's difficult for him.
I go run by the come out.
Right, well, that's what I did. I'll favor roundabout, okay?
Sure.
But I don't think it's gonna fly. But I think signal is good.
What are the general maintenance costs on, do you have any idea
For signals,
signals?
depends if they get hit often or
Right.
not. There's an energy cost, but, you usually light a roundabout, so energy wise, they're probably, neutral that way. Yeah, it really, the initial capital investment is there. I'm trying to think, a lot of the lights we have out on Schofield Ave, I think were the states or when the county. So would that be early 90s? When that got switched out?
Probably.
So, you usually get probably a good, at least 30 years you'd anticipate, unless there's a new technology that you wanna implement, so.
I look at I was driving on Business 51 going toward Mosinee. By Cedar Creek area, there is 3 lights or 4 lights. And there is no traffic for that, except in the morning when they go to the public work and foremost and also dump time. And also in the afternoon. But during the daytime, there isn't much traffic there. But they put it in there, at least 4 of them. I would say there's 4 lights in there. So in comparison, I think Mesker can manage that. And we can go with the light.
What is, just from a safety standpoint, does it make any difference to the police or the fire department? Because that's probably, I always think when they come out of there, that's where they're coming that way, trying to get on or through that intersection. I don't know if it makes any difference to them or not.
Yeah, generally if they're heading somewhere, they got their lights on, their horns, and I think whether, just watching them approach an intersection, they usually slow down, make sure everybody sees them.
They can design that when they start coming out, all the light gets red. Then they can get through the intersection.
That's my only comment.
Yeah.
I want some input from them.
Yeah,
before
and I guess we don't need to make a decision. I guess no matter what we would propose and move forward with, we still have to put in a capital plan and say, yeah, we're gonna redo this intersection in 2024, 2025, kind of project that out. So.
My only thought was the fire department says, yeah, we don't want a roundabout because it's hell on wheels to get a ladder truck through there, or, we'd much prefer a traffic light, or maybe they go the opposite way. I don't know, I really have no idea, but that was my only thought, because that's so heavily used by the emergency vehicles.
Yep, and I can check with those guys. And some of this is, you create a data point, and then they say every, I think it's 10 to 20 years, you redo it, or if there's new development, just to make sure that something that changed that now says, yeah, you definitely should be putting an improvement at this intersection.
So what's your wishes?
My only thing was I'm a little hesitant to recommend, when I was reading this, I said, I don't know, do we know what the public, I mean, what the fire, my biggest concern was the fire department, because I use that a lot, like, just like you do. And there's a lot of times, all of a sudden, here come the sirens and there's nowhere to get out of there to really, that was my only thought, because usually they're coming towards Schofield Avenue.
Yep.
Versus Ross.
Well, as I said, they design it, they can make all the light red before they get to the intersection. Has been done.
You need a recommendation on either or
Not,
just to go forward on,
yeah, I guess if we wanna, if you guys wanna make a recommendation to the village board that we start, design on any of these, or we look at least placing it within our capital plan for the next, 3-4 years. Or we say we've got good data, we know where we're at right now and we'll revisit, but, I think if the committee feels there is a need to make some improvements at the intersection, then we should have a recommendation to place the project in the capital plan.
Well, it definitely makes sense to do something in there
Yep.
because it's safety.
Mhm.
I'd rather to see we do something and see somebody got killed in there.
Yep.
I don't care what we do, it's not gonna pay off for that. So something has to be done at that intersection.
Yeah.
I was halfway through intersection, then the guy take off from the masker with the trailer and also turn at the same time. So it's not safe.
Well, I'll move to recommend village board direct staff to investigate the traffic light design with the input of the fire department / police department as a result of the phase 2 ice studies.
For Mesker?
For Mesker, yes.
I'll second it.
Other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you.
Okay, so then that was the Mesker intersection, I guess, do you guys have any thoughts on Ryan Street, or? I guess that looks like it's maybe okay as is right now.
I was okay with, I'm pretty comfortable with Ryan. I don't think that gets anywhere near the traffic that,
Sure.
you're not gonna get any more from the north, because you can't develop
Yeah.
any further north, but. I mean, it is in the mornings, I drive out that way every morning and it can clog up a little bit when you get buses trying to get off of Ryan going northbound there, if they're taking a left, but it's not, I don't think it's not nearly as bad as Mesker.
No, I'm in that area, right out there.
Okay.
Like you said, once in a while you'll have a little bit backup, but nothing as a rule. And there's quite a bit of cars that actually are going on there, but it's not enough to really, just normal traffic,
Sure. Okay.
All right. Item 13, maintenance and reconstruction of Schofield Avenue. I asked him to put that one on the agenda because it looked bad. I mean, it's not the look. You drive Schofield Avenue, it's a lot of a bump, and we spend every year money on it, maintain it, and winter come, still is the same way. So something has to be done instead of spending money only on maintenance continuously. How much you spend on it annually?
Well, it depends what parts of it. So I wasn't sure if you were just talking about like the Normandy to Birch or our entire stretch.
I would say Normandy to Birch, yes.
Okay, yeah, so that's where in the TIF 2 amendment that we had, it was put in there that road would be reconstructed no sooner than 2025. But that it would be reconstructed, I guess, so likely in 25 or 26 as part of the TIF 2 closure. So I guess that's the window we're looking at. So as far as maintenance or keeping it passable. It's this summer and next summer that we're working on getting, getting through. I guess, yeah, to your point, I don't know how easily this shows up anymore, but, some of these red circles were repairs we did in, what was that, 16 partial depth repairs. Blue ones are full depth, and then yellow was other repairs in 2019. We did other repairs in 2012, I know, along there. So yeah, it did get to that.
A couple $100,000 a year.
Yeah, so it was getting to that point where it made no sense to try to keep patching that together. And that's why it was recommended as part of that TIF2 plan to just reconstruct it, because the ongoing cost of keeping it wasn't smart. It was throwing good money at a bad solution, I guess, to a certain extent.
Yes.
Well, I guess somebody asked me this and I didn't actually, I said, well, I always thought concrete was more durable. But they made the comment that it seemed like wherever there was a seam in the concrete, that's where there was a hole. And would you have that problem on a blacktop? And I said, I don't know. I'll ask.
Well, I think what they do when they design the road, they make a calculation, they make a design to see what is the best road in there, with a concrete or a blacktop. Usually the engineer make a recommendation, based on this, we recommend to go with the concrete or go with the blacktop. It's not just do blacktop or do the concrete.
Well, I think, when the county was doing that, I mean, it was the fact that they were gonna make, that's a high traveled road and it's, whatever, but also high maintenance.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, so concrete roads, if done right, compared to an asphalt road, right? Like you're building these in a vacuum. A concrete road does have a projected longer life. If everything's built to spec and appropriate and.
It also takes a heavier load.
Yeah,
Correct.
I mean, concrete's a rigid pavement, so it actually has it has strength to it, whereas asphalt's essentially it's a flexible pavement. The strength is really the base and everything underneath it. The asphalt itself is just to give you essentially the smooth ride. It has some structure to it, but it's not like you build buildings out of concrete. You don't build buildings out of asphalt.
What if you left the concrete and you did whatever to the top and then applied blacktop, would that be I don't know,
So you look at like Business 51, right? Once the concrete starts cracking underneath it, your base is cracked, that's gonna reflect through on the asphalt. So, I mean, it might look good for a year or two, but then it'll start.
Well, that was the comment, and I really didn't have an answer. I said, other than the concrete was for higher volume, traffic, but I don't know. And I agreed, if you drive down there, that's where all the potholes are, right? Wherever there's a seam in the blacktop.
Yeah.
Cement.
Even doing it that way, there is a lot of steel in there, they can't leave it in place. And also, if they leave it in place, they increase the elevation of the road. The thickness of blacktop could be 6 inches, 5 inches. So create more problem doing it that way, so.
And then a couple of years ago, when I was looking up a different project record for Schofield Ave, I came across the fact that there were bad batches of concrete that were used. That was known, and the town or the county, whoever was the builder of the owner of the road at the time, accepted a discount on the loads and didn't require them to be ripped out. So, there's part of that too, where there's bad material in there. It was known to be bad, and instead of saying, rip that out and redo it, somebody said, hey, we'll take that discount and we'll have a cheaper product, which produced a cheaper product.
Well, I know we've got better maintenance than Schofield, but Schofield's is horrible right now.
Yeah.
That road lasts only 2 years, and it turned to the powder. From Alderson to Business 51. They didn't ask any question, they just said, take it apart, redo that, rebuild it. That was it. Nobody come forward to say, that's this fault or we study it, none of that stuff, just redo the work and move on. That was it. And it wasn't only one project in the state, there was some other place also. So,
But I guess, yeah, to your question about the joint failure, that's the one spot where water, sand, salt, everything can get introduced into the pavement structure. When we have those blow-ups on concrete pavement, that's generally the concrete heats up and it pushes against each other. And eventually you get enough sand and everything else in there that there's no relief, so the pressure goes up.
Well, that was the comment, was
Yeah.
that they seemed like a blacktop actually didn't crack up as much as the cement because there isn't
The joints.
joints.
And then if you,
blacktop is easier to repair it
it is, yeah.
and maintain it, but after first year or second year, you get those shrinkage crack all the way. Every so many feet it appears.
I can't think of any major roads that are made out of anything other than concrete. I mean, they all, right, I mean, all your interstates, all your heavily traveled roads.
They get all those blow up,
They're all,
Well, what did they do on, I want to say, business, 51, what is it now, 39, several years ago between us and, I want to say, Point. I thought they had graded off the top of the,
They milled and overlaid that, I think.
yeah.
So
that was asphalt.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought, that's where I thought of it. I thought, well, and that was concrete, and I thought they just milled it and then laid blacktop down. But
Did they pulverize that though?
I
The
don't,
drop hammers, the Dufek drop hammers?
I didn't.
Well, some of it was just asphalt, I know, and they milled and overlaid
Yeah,
that.
it's just,
Okay,
it's never
well, maybe
concrete.
I
that's
don't
what it
remember
was.
any, yeah.
Maybe that's what it was, and I just thought it, because I know it was we had a one-lane traffic all summer long. Okay,
I think that was.
That was concrete underneath it though.
Maybe there was an asphalt layer and they milled that and then down to the concrete.
It was concrete all the way, yeah. There isn't a piece of 51 there that doesn't have concrete underneath it. And what they did is it was reinforced concrete years ago, the old stuff, like from 153 going south. What they did is they take the drop hammers and they basically rubblize it, and they went over the top of it. And then a few years back, they dug out some bad spots by the airport, I know, coming northbound. And then, yeah, down south.
And I know they did that actually at my Rice Lake this year on 53. They hammered it.
Pulverized it
Yep.
and overlaid it. And they're going with thicker asphalt too when they're doing that, up north, by Brokog up there. Yeah, they're using a thicker binder material on it before they put the other stuff.
well, that was just a thought when they asked too, and I said, it does, I know it's easier to maintain, but, I don't know. If it,
I mean, asphalt roads are generally historically require more frequent maintenance, crack sealing and seal coating, whereas concrete roads, you don't do much to them. There's not a whole lot of maintenance, maybe some crack sealing it, but then, so there's a trade-off. Yeah, so then you do a lot, and they're a lot more expensive repairs.
No matter what you do,
Yeah.
pay it one way or other. It is the Wisconsin weather and that's cold weather. No matter what you do, you got a maintenance, you got a expense, and it goes up every year because the road age and your maintenance increase. So it is what it is. But if you're gonna do 25 reconstruction, you better start working on a design on it.
Yep.
And budgeting on it and see when we're gonna do it, from where to where, and put some estimate together, see what's our cost, then we can do it.
Yeah, so again, the TIF boundary is essentially Normandy Street to Birch Street. We could kind of get through the Birch Street intersection, whether that's all the way to Gordon or not, I guess, right? I think Gordon's the next one over.
I wanna start at the intersection or go at least,
Yeah, we'd at least get through it, and I
Yeah.
think Gordon is close enough where we'd probably just want to tie in that intersection there too.
because last time when they working there, I did wanna pass that intersection.
Mhm.
Said no.
Yeah.
The administrator said no.
TIF ended and that's where it ended, but you can
That was
go a
the-
little bit beyond now.
Yeah, you can go within a half mile.
Could.
So you're gonna come back to us?
Yeah, I guess this year we'll look at milling out or cutting out and trying to get some hot mix in there and get those taken care of and, yeah, we can start sending out, I guess we can talk to the board about when we wanna start sending out RFPs for design. I know we have one project at Birch coming in for a site plan. Or that was last month, I think it was. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that was the whole reason for wanting to not do anything sooner than 25 was, so as we had a couple of years here for development to occur, but I think as far as some of the water sewer, looking at storm sewer issues, even kind of doing some initial pavement analysis, get survey done, I think we can get that going so that we're, ready by 25 to put out good documents, so.
Okay,
Yeah, because when
Is
does
that
the
okay,
TIF have to be
everybody?
spent?
So you'd look at going to bid in 24?
Winter of 24, yeah. Spring of 25, I think correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, even if a TIF expenditure is March of 26, correct? But I think if we have a project designated, we can still allocate funds beyond that March date.
Assuming we have the cash flow, yeah.
Correct, yeah.
So if it would mean keeping it open a little longer, that could be an implication, but yes, we can.
But our expenditure
If
date,
we were to close, say we're gonna close it in 26, and we would, and we had the cash in hand, then yes, it could be paid out after the closure date, I guess.
I don't think we should go all the way to 26, we should do it. If we set up the time, we say we're gonna do it 25, let's do it 25.
sure.
Yeah, I don't want, like, going right to the deadline and things
What's the other
don't
thing
go
is,
well, then you're,
you spend every year $200,000 for maintenance, for every year, we spend that money.
Would they
And
do
I'm trying to
one-
eliminate that money.
would they do one side and then the other, or how would they approach it?
Yeah, I guess we'd probably more than likely try to do it, eastbound lane, so you can have at least two-way traffic on the other side.
Switch back over.
And then switch back over.
Yeah.
It won't be fun.
What's
but-
your guess on on the length of that would be? Is that like 3-4 months? 3 months?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be probably a good April, early May through October.
It's gonna be a fun summer down.
So, yeah,
you avoided it if you could.
and I guess some of that too comes into whether we look at replacing sanitary sewer, water main, all those other components too. If it's just a pavement project, it's not so bad, but,
I don't think you have a problem with those sanitary sewer water, but you can check it out.
I think we got a couple flat spots by Cherry and Willow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there might be some select utility, so.
Anything else?
Not on that one, no.
I just think it should be dead sooner than later.
Well, I was hoping you say 24, but that's all right.
Well, I'm just following the rules that were put in the TIF document,
The
so.
rule is there to break.
So we have to advocate to the village board, we're gonna do this stuff in a different schedule.
Well, I think we should.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So
My philosophy, this is a main drag in the village. And some of the side roads in there, in the village are much better than Schofield Ave.
Yeah.
And we can't have that. And remember, at Schofield Avenue got all the development, majority of them, it was after improving the Schofield Ave. And I think it's good for that if you want to do economic development, it's good to improve the road. So I agree with you, yes, we should. But then we may come back to a little bit different schedule. All right, thank you. Item 14, capital improvement plan discussion, 2023 to 2027.
I guess the one item, I guess the goal of what this item, I guess I should say, would be to just get the endorsement first to go send out RFPs for design for Fuller Street and East Jelnik. And then one road that came up recently, maybe similar to Schofield Ave, is Jelnik Avenue between the junior high and senior high, essentially. Last year we did some mill and repaving, and where we milled and paved, it's holding up, but everything else around those patches is now failing. When I was initially talking to Dan, I thought, well, maybe we could just overlay the road and we'd be fine. With the sidewalk there and the curb ramps don't meet current ADA compliance, we would need to update all the curb ramps if we overlay the road. So I talked to a couple consultants. Clark Dietz was the one that said, hey, we have capacity to do this right now if you wanted us to do it. They estimate maybe be about a $30,000 design, but then we would, 30 to 40,000 depending on what surveyors would cost them. But that'd be a way to try to quickly get a design out there and repave this road yet this summer. I guess one concern I do have is since we don't have it out for bid or even possibly out for bid probably until June or July, school starts in September. So I don't know if we want to be trying to pave, redo this during school. Maybe that's not an issue and we just do what we need to do to keep our road in good condition. But I guess I'd advocate for trying to get this done yet this year. This summer, yeah. So it's not in our CIP. I know there is a consultant out there that could do it. If I go for RFPs, that's gonna add another month. I guess I'll be able to negotiate a contract there. If not, can send it out and see what we can do.
How many bids are you likely to get if you put it out for an RFP?
I don't know, maybe 2.
So I was guessing that, I would say 1, but.
Yeah, I mean, like, last year last fall, we put out an RFPs for Camp Phillips and Ross and we got 0 back. So, even on our Weston Ave project, AECOM, the people we're working with are out of their Madison office.
Do we have any problem with not going for an RFP if it's public money?
Not for design, no.
Not for design. Just for their construction?
Just construction, yeah. Construction we have to bid, and even if there's only one bidder, that's fine as long as we go through the bidding process.
Anything else?
No, I guess, just trying to,
Do you need a recommendation about just not going out for bids or,
I guess
because I mean, otherwise you're just sitting there for another month going.
correct, yeah.
So you'd go out for an RFP for Fuller, but not for Jelnik?
Well, and East, so I should correct that. So there's 2 Jelniks. So the one Jelnik would be from essentially the junior high to the senior high to try to get something done yet this year. And then East Jelnik goes from Camp Phillips out towards the east, toward Von Kennel. So that's the northern boundary of what was our Crestwood Acres project. So there's a water main loop and pavement's in bad condition there too.
But I think if you're going to want to do it this year,
Yes,
to get it going as soon as possible, because the sooner you can get at it, you aren't going to be interrupting the school year quite as much.
yeah. So I mean, for East Jelnik and Fuller, I would go through the regular RFP full thing, because those aren't gonna get done this year. That is water, sewer, there's no way that we would get that done. But something that's a mill with some curb ramp, that I think would be feasible for this year.
Go ahead.
I was just curious, what would you think the ending date for that construction would be between the junior and senior high school?
It would be before, maybe in October would be an ending date.
I
And it's
think
not ideal, but,
it should start when the school stop, and it should finish it before the school start.
yeah, I just don't know. I mean, we could try to bid it by June and hopefully somebody could pick it up by, be starting it in July.
I would put those schedule in there in the contract. This is the starting, this is the end of the project.
Yep.
That's what you gotta finish the project, that's it.
Yeah,
But if he doesn't ask for quotes until June, they aren't gonna.
I mean, essentially we'd have to put contractors on notice saying, hey, this project's coming up.
Yeah.
Maybe keep that in as part of your queue for this year, but,
Because with the school open and those children, you can reroute the traffic or there's another place for it.
so I mean, that'd be the thing too, is we try to get it out there as quick as we can, and if people say I can't meet that timeline, I guess we patch it for the year and, come back next year and repave it.
It's not the end of the world, but it's also football season.
Yeah,
The other thing you gotta remember though, this year, if this stuff doesn't go away pretty soon, you know what I mean? It's granted, it's March and road limits are going on, but the longer it hangs on, the worse it is. The DOT has been typically starting projects earlier and earlier every year, this kind of stuff. There's still 3 feet of frost in the roads around here. I got the frost tube readings out of Marathon County this morning. They're posting roads starting Wednesday, which kind of shocked me. I thought they'd hang on one a little longer, but I'm not being negative, I'm just being a realist, that the DOT projects, and that's when it comes to the paving, American Asphalt, Matthew, they're the big player around here. Depending what DOT's got, and if there's, that all plays into this when you talk time. I agree with you, Shane, that this is what we want. You're gonna have to offer them enough money to make it worthwhile if you're limited that tight. That's all I'm saying. That comes into play.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the other option you could look at, depending if you've got enough payment, if it's a mill and overlay, if it ends up going into when the school year starts, I guess it's a traffic control thing that you'd maybe have to work with, I'm just being a realist because of the way unfortunately in central Wisconsin, we only really have one big player when it comes to asphalt pavement. If we could get Northeast or somebody else to come in here and say, and you know what I mean, and go after it, but Matthew is the player in the game around here. If they're booked up tight with a bunch of DOT stuff, you come second, unfortunately, unless you're gonna pay them enough money to make sure that it happens.
And if you're bidding it later in the summer, they have all the,
They're already booked.
right, it's gonna be a lot more expensive.
but the thing is, what I proposed, and I said, put the schedule in there, that has been done. I did it in the city of Moston, and it worked. And he had to deal with all the problem you're bringing up. You're correct. But he made the project happen because they work longer hours and did the pavement at night. So they made the project happen.
Yeah,
But yes,
Even
it's
if
extra because of the overtime and everything else.
But if you're not giving them that early, of course, early spring may not happen.
Yeah.
But if you're not giving them that time frame, to start getting things ready, if you're not asking for bids until it's construction time, that isn't gonna work.
Yeah, well, just getting the plans together, getting some survey to get done. We'd be looking at replacing the storm sewer inlets along with this, try to get some more TSS removal so we can get closer to our DNR compliance, so. But some of that stuff might be able to be done yet with winter on the ground, with as-built and some of that information, so. But yeah, so I guess, that would be essentially from Mock Miller Street, probably to Alderson or as close to Alderson as we can. I know the school district's gonna be starting the Greenheck Turner Center too this year, so maybe we stop short and only go to Alta Verde. That's really the worst part. Essentially Mock Miller to Alta Verde. We could have the other portion maybe in another year or so.
Split the project.
Yeah, try to split it just so it could be done with less disruption. And then, so the East Jelnik project there would be from Camp Phillips Road here over to Von Kennel, and then likely Von Kennel from this roundabout up to Schofield Ave. I know this portion of Von Kennel kind of coming out of Covantage Credit Union is pavement that's seen better days too. So just to clarify the two different Jelniks out there.
Yes,
With regards to the junior high to high school, does the new administration building there play into that at all with making that unless that road's perfect, why, I guess I don't quite understand why you wouldn't go to the intersection.
I'm just saying they're gonna have construction traffic coming in for this going on. So part of me says we let them beat that up during their construction, and then when they're done with construction, in a year or so, we'd finish it.
Make them come in off of Weston.
They have a loop kind of planned. I think it mainly for their big deliveries. I mean, by the summer that might be done, I guess I'd
that
rather,
project should be done. They're gonna finish it, because they're renting a place and
yeah. So the admin building's one thing. It's the Greenheck Turner Center that's gonna really impact things. So, maybe that's part of it too. We let them beat up Jelnik for all summer, and then next year we redo it. I don't know.
if you wanna do it next year, then you got plenty of time and
Yeah.
we can organize it nicely and do it, yep.
But you said you've got an opening for design right now.
Yeah, there's an opening right now where we could get it
I
done.
mean,
And a
if
design
we
that
get the
doesn't go
design
bad.
done now and we don't do it till next year, it doesn't really matter, right?
No, it doesn't go bad.
All right,
Way to go.
anything else on those issues? You satisfied with the answer?
I'm a silent partner.
All right,
You need a-
future item,
Yeah, I guess if there is a motion or an endorsement to,
I think if you do it all in one, do the whole thing
Sure.
yourself. I mean, then if you leave a section out and then you have another, I don't know. You got a mob charge and other stuff, then you got another project right there.
well, if you look at Alderson Street coming from Schofield Ave past Target, you're seeing some of the beginning stages of this again. So I guess I foresee Alderson Street probably looking like this in a couple of years myself. At that point, we'd probably then tie that in, I guess, is my thought.
you say you want a motion for Jelnik
To design it?
To design,
to design it
mhm.
and construct it when?
Well,
I would try to get it done this year, at least between Mock Miller and Alta Verde.
You won't, you can try it.
We could see what happens, or we defer it and we say, hey, we'll just add.
Let the Greenheck people trash it and then take it all the way to Alderson in 26.
Yeah, so we could do
You
that.
got the design work all done this year when he's got a window to get a deal.
Well, you gotta see what's their schedule, maybe you wanna get their schedule, and based on that, you schedule your construction.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to make sense to fix it all up, only to have all that.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
construction.
yeah, so we've been in contact with them because they've been asking about weight limits, weight limit permits. So, this year, they're gonna get started this spring. And they anticipate having it open by fall of 25 or 24.
That's a
Fall of 24, this is 24,
really,
yeah,
that's pretty fast
so.
schedule. This is not on the agenda, can we do that?
It's part of the capital improvement plan discussion.
We good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll accept the motion to authorize the public work to hire a consultant for designing Jellicoe Street from Mark Miller to where? Michael, to Alderson,
We can say Alderson, that's fine.
all right?
That's just to do the plan, not to.
Just designing it.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll move to recommend the village board direct staff to engage a design consultant for Jelinek Avenue between, was it Alderson and Mockman?
Mockmill, yep.
And you need a second, and move to recommend the village board endorse staff to send out RFPs for Fuller Street and East Jelinek.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, but then I have a question.
Discussion?
Yeah, you're saying RFPs for Fuller
And East Jelinek.
and, okay, and you're not going to do an RFP for Jelnick?
For the other part of Jelinek, he's got an opportunity, the design consultant said they could slot that in.
Okay, but we may not do it yet.
Correct.
Right, this would just be
Okay.
the design portion of it, and he wouldn't RFP that.
Okay, I
We
just wanted to
yeah.
make sure, because I'm still not sure we should construct that,
Yeah.
reconstruct it before all that construction goes down.
Yeah, this is just the design.
So do you have a cost estimate for the construction cost?
Yeah, what I have it there, I think it's about 575,000. Yeah. So,
your design should be more than, what, 40,000?
yeah, like I said, the kind of ballpark number I got was
So 30 to 40.
30 to 40. 40 would be on the high end. And that was really just,
40 is 8%.
yeah.
Yeah, it is high.
And they said that was really also depending on how aggressive we want to be with survey. If the surveyors have to dig through snow, it's more expensive. If we wait for the snow to melt, it'd be less expensive. But if we wait for the snow to melt, then we're looking at a longer duration and it's not gonna get done this year. So if we're fine with that, we just,
Well, I guess I'm not.
But you do the surveying in the snow, you may not get accurate answer either.
correct, yeah, because they're gonna be, I mean, for the curb ramps, they're looking for exact elevations,
Right.
not just approximate, so.
Other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Next meeting day, Wednesday, March 29, 2023, at 6 p.m., Weston Avenue, Alderson to Birch, public informational meeting.
Yep, so that's the one that'll be at the Rothschild Village Hall.
Okay, that's just.
And that's just if you want to go. It's not a Public Works Committee meeting, but
You send the notice out.
yeah, I'll send out a calendar notice.
Okay. Item B, Monday, April 10, 2023, at 4:30 p.m., that's a regular meeting.
Yep.
Item C, Monday, May 8, 2023, at 4:30 p.m., that's a regular meeting. Topic for future meeting, item 16, we don't have any at this moment. What do we do? You're gonna bring us the this proposal?
Yeah. For
So,
the other projects you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah. So if they, that might be at the May meeting, based on giving people enough time.
okay. And Masker too.
Correct, yeah. Well, Mesker would be, yeah, I mean, do you want me to send out proposals for Mesker right now too?
Which one take it to the board?
Yeah, I guess so there's, yeah, if we want to get design proposals on it, that's fine. or-
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Item 17, remark from administrator.
Nothing
Mr. Donner?
tonight,
Nothing?
nothing,
Okay. Remark from staff.
Nothing here.
Michael, anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Remark from committee member.
Nothing.
Okay. All right, I don't have any announcement. Accept the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make the motion to adjourn.
4:49.
Second.
All in favor signifies by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you very much.